It's not difficult, is it, Angelica? I mean, that is what a woman is.
I mean, I don't know why you're obsessed with defining it. Like, what is a man? Like, why do we need these arbitrary...
A man is a male, adult human. I mean, that's it.
Right, OK. I don't know that we need
these are just biological facts, but they're just facts. They're not arguable points, are they?
But I think we have a right to self-identify. And you said you want to...
As what?
If you'd like to be a woman, you can identify as a woman. I don't know why there is such an issue around...
We've literally just seen a male rapist use that scam to get himself put into a female prison where he could attack vulnerable women inside a female prison, when even his ex-wife said it was all a scam.
Which is a terrible, very distressing, isolated incident. And I think it's easy to take that and say that means that no one can identify as a woman. And
but it's not an isolated incident, though.
But it's
42% of trans-identifying prisoners in prison are in there for sex crimes. There's actually an advantage, evidently, to identifying as a female, because they never identify as male, because somehow male prisons seem less appealing to them. It's really weird. Anyway, but
is it limitless, this self-identity?
It's not totally limitless.
What's the limit?
When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if anyone...
There's so many benefits.
Right, but if anyone, according
to
to you, can identify as a woman, anyone can, right?
I don't see a problem with...
Just literally put the hand up and say, I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the world.
It's very easy.
Very easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say...
What does doing it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to go out into the world and say, I don't identify as perhaps the sex I was born as...
So why can't I identify... OK, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was...
I'm serious. I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I, on International Women's Day, say, I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd status...
I think that's
talking about quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
change.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say, I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
Actually, I think what you said ridicules trans people, because actually people who go through the full process of transition, who actually go through what we used to call a sex change, which I don't think you can muck around with original biology, but those who actually go through surgical procedure over a number of years, I've got great respect for that very difficult journey they go on. I have zero respect for people who just wallop their hand up and go, suddenly, I'm a woman and I want all the rights that a woman has and I want to compete, say, in sport. I'm a 6'4" athlete, sprinter, swimmer, whatever, who's competed very mediocrely in male sport. I now want to come in and crush women in swimming pools and in sprinting events and break all their records, perhaps irrevocably, just by saying, I'm a woman. I think that is the absurdity you were talking about.
No, but can you imagine you coming to our restaurants and then you get some people coming to your table and trying to disrupt your evening? It's abuse.
I am going to start running into vegan restaurants.
That's fine. Go for
just
it.
Shouting and being annoying
your right to protest,
grabbing
Piers.
tables and so you can't eat your gruel and just see how you lot like it. I'm
Honestly,
going to go to
Piers.
your house and chop paint all over it.
Piers, you've got a right to protest. Oof! You've got me another one.
Stick it off your bingo.
Fantastic.
Stick it off your bingo, son.
But where's the salt? Where's it?
Won't need any of this gruel. Let's put that
Fantastic.
to one side, but I will have a bit of steak just to...
You didn't salt it, though.
You see, all you've achieved is you've made me want to do this. Just eat a
That's
lovely...
absolutely fine. You go for it.
Do you know how many steaks he's had from my restaurant?
A lot. But here's my point. I love eating steak. I'm not going to stop eating steak.
Yeah.
And the very last thing on earth that will stop me eating steak is people like you with your pasty faces running into our restaurants telling us to stop eating steak.
We took LGB and then we added LGBTQIA+++, and then we included men who dress up like women and mock women like influencer Dylan Mulvaney. And then a lot of American conservatives just said, listen, we've had enough. It's okay if you're proud of your sexuality, but why do I have to be proud of your sexuality? That's where you lost a lot of folks, and we're starting to finally
Firstly, I'll say Dylan is
enough
a trans woman. Dylan is a woman, so you got that wrong. And secondly...
Well, Dylan was a gay man until last year. Hang on. Dylan was a gay man until last year.
They've transitioned, they're a woman. I think that we lost people right at the beginning when gay people were dying in the streets because no one was looking out for us. So actually what we're doing right now is just... I wouldn't even use the word celebrating. I think pride is a protest.
Is it a bit too much? In other words, do you want to...
What does that mean? What is too much?
In other words, I think with every campaign, bringing people with you is really important, right? The moment it looks like it's just over the top, like it's everywhere you go is pride, 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 pride. Do we need to be that exuberant about it?
Are you blaming gay people for that? I mean, it's
No.
not our fault the companies...
Honestly, I don't care what sexuality anybody is. I don't think most people do anymore.
Right, so what is the problem then? Why are you so triggered by a flag?
I'll tell you
it's a
what
rainbow
problem.
flag. You mentioned Regent Street.
I'm not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag. And
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight
Where's
everywhere?
my straight flag?
Why am I constantly getting straight
Where is my straight flag?
Why are straight people holding hands in the
When
street?
have you ever seen a straight flag?
Why is Mickey Mouse got a
Tell me
girlfriend?
one straight flag
Why are
hanging
you
right now
pushing-
anywhere in the world.
Why are straight people
Where
pushing
is the straight flag?
identity
Where's the
onto
straight
me?
flag?
Everywhere.
Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
It's never been a
Piers.
straight flag.
You're a straight flag.
If you don't mind me asking, how much do you weigh?
Look, I'm not going to talk about numbers because the thing is, when
I think you should. I mean,
no. The thing is, if I give you the number of how much I weigh, it's going to be all over the Sun, all those trashy newspapers tomorrow morning. I don't need it. Don't need it.
Well, you don't need it. You're on TikTok every day
thing
showing
is-
us how big you are.
Yeah, and look,
And you're proud of it.
No. There's a difference. There's proud, and then there's just being positive in my own skin, and that's what I am.
Right.
I'm not proud to be fat.
Would
I'm
you
not
accept?
proud to...
Would you accept that by medical definition you are morbidly obese?
Look, if that's what medically you want to call it, then call it.
Well,
It's
no,
fine.
you
It's
know
fine.
your weight. I don't.
No. But that's you could say that. Yeah.
Right. So here's
You
my
could say
issue
that.
with this body positivity thing. People shouldn't be celebrating being morbidly obese, in my estimation.
But that's the
Because actually, it is a dangerous condition that causes many people to die.
Look, you've got a fair point. It is dangerous. It can lead to dangerous issues, which could, diabetes and so on. And that is an issue. But we don't encourage gaining weight. There's a difference between the videos you just showed on the screen
Come
and
off
what we're
it, George.
talking about now.
You're doing this.
'cause
These TikToks are all geared to you.
You're showing people encouraging eating food. I'm just saying, wow, look at the pizza. Look, it's from Costco. It's nice.
No,
it tastes
you're
nice.
not. You're not.
No, that's
you
what
are.
I'm doing.
Sorry, George.
That's what I'm doing.
You are glorifying
Glorifying.
scoffing.
It's called taking
Right,
the piss.
endless-
That's what it is.
Well, maybe, but
That's what it is. It's having a laugh and not taking yourself too
Why
seriously.
Why is it funny?
Because it is funny. You know it is funny.
It's
You had a
not
little
funny.
smirk yourself before.
I actually don't
You
find
see
this
it
kind of thing
yourself.
funny. I think
No,
it's,
come on.
I actually think it's quite sad.
It's not sad. It's comedy.
Let me bring in.
It's
let me,
satire comedy.
Well, maybe.
You know it is. You know it is.
I'm not-
You know it is, Piers. I've been an actor for 13 years.
George,
You know
George.
damn right I know how this industry works.
George, let's bring in Riz, who's chuckling away because you find all this terribly amusing. Riz, you supported Just Stop Oil. No one at Wimbledon today supports Just Stop Oil. They just think you're a bunch of idiots. I know you weren't there today. You were shouting at the Royals up in Scotland. Why do you support this kind of protest that we're seeing at all these sporting events?
Oh, I'm not sure I've completely condoned that. And to be clear, I'm not speaking on behalf of Republic today. I speak on behalf of No More Royals. But absolutely, we were protesting in Scotland. And Piers, you've just been going on at these guys at Just Stop Oil about why are you disrupting ordinary people and why don't you target the right thing? And we've been doing that, shouting at the king.
Why do you support that method of protesting? Why don't you come out and condemn Just Stop Oil like Trevor Nielsen, who was funding some of this stuff before, has suddenly realised the penny's dropped, it doesn't work?
I'd like to talk about coronation because it's but to respond to that question, we're in a climate crisis. It's horrifying. I'm terrified for my future, and Just Stop Oil are one of the only groups of people at the moment who are doing anything about that. But as I say, I'd like to focus on the issue.
Well, I'm sure you would. I'd like to focus on what's just happened because it's indicative of a summer of protest by people who think that they can convert people to their cause. Even if people are inclined to do so, we're now at a point where you can tell from the audience reactions at these events, they literally want to garrote them. And what worries me is it is going to lead to bad situations if this carries on, because people are just going to take the law into their own hands.
Sorry, that's stupid. Sorry, I
Well, you don't have to keep swearing, Riz, with respect.
Do you want to talk about the protest?
Riz,
yeah,
you don't
apologies,
have
fair
to
enough.
keep
Do
swearing.
you want to talk about the protest,
Yeah.
or do you want to say that protests shouldn't happen and we should all suck it up and deal with it? Because that's easy for you, right? Like, you've been dealt a pretty good hand.
I believe
So
in
have I,
peaceful
by the way.
protest.
But I actually care
I believe in peaceful protest.
So do you want to talk about the peaceful protest today?
I believe
then?
in peaceful protest. I don't believe in wrecking ordinary people's lives as they're going to work, as they're going to hospital, as they, on some occasions, going to funerals. I don't think that when they pay for sporting events that they maybe save money for all year long.
That's fine, because neither Republic or No More Royals did that today. I'd love to talk about that.
They shouldn't have it ruined by a bunch of...
Let's talk about it. There was Republic up at one end who were... a massive crowd, far bigger than any of the monarchists. I mean, the streets are pretty much empty. I haven't had a chance yet to look at any of the coverage, but I think you'll see that because there is pretty much nothing going on the monarchist end, and the Republic demo is enormous. And then there's No More Royals, who did a banner drop chanting, can I swear? I just did. The king, feed the hungry, because that's what we want to talk about, right?
You know what?
This
you know
is
what, Riz? For a very,
they've done this.
You know what, Riz? For a bright young woman who's getting a very good, expensive education, you do behave like a complete foul-mouthed idiot. You don't do yourself any favours. Why do you think coming on a show like this and just repeatedly using the F word, why do you think that makes you look any better?
Yeah, I did apologise for that.
You've done it 3 times.
For that in advance, but
3 times.
That was what we said.
3 times.
Yeah, F the king. Yeah, I'm happy to censor it.
It's not an invalid argument, Amelia, that there, you know, in all sport, you're going to get some people who are physical freaks, if for want of a better phrase, like Michael Phelps, who literally could do this, and it's normally the same as your height or something, isn't it, the span? And he had 6 inches extra, massive hands, right? Obviously can help him, and huge feet, I think, as well. What's your response to that argument?
But biologically, they're still the sex that they're competing against. You know, at the end of the day, reducing a testosterone level is not going to cut it, because women are so much more than a testosterone level. You know, physiologically, you know, periods, whole other discussion.
Well, that is certainly not
and
to be.
You know,
yeah.
like we're so much more than a testosterone level. So just reducing a testosterone level, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not going to change the physiological differences, because a lot of these people too are, you know, they're training as a male athlete for a long period of time before transitioning. So they're having that higher testosterone level.
And it's things like lung capacity as well, all these things which you get after, you know, having gone through puberty. They're real things which give most trans athletes an immediate biological advantage. That's my problem. The other half of this is what if they don't compete against women born to female bodies, what happens to trans athletes? Now, I think there's one of 2 things you can do. Either they compete against their biological sex, which most of them have done anyway for many years, actually never as successfully as they do when they compete against women, which I think is the argument right there. Or you create an entirely new category. There are more and more, as you said, at grassroots level, you create an entirely new category for trans athletes to compete against other trans athletes.
Well, my starting point is there shouldn't be a blanket ban on all trans athletes. There should be individual assessment. So where there are issues raised...
That's never going to work, is it?
Well, no, of course it can.
You can't make it one, you know, person by person by person by person. You can't.
Well, there are not that many trans athletes overall, and it's quite feasible.
Actually, there are more and more of them.
Well, there are, but there's still a very...
There's already 13 in elite athletics.
Really?
DSD athletes.
So 13 elite... You see, what my issue with it is, they're going to start breaking women's records irrevocably. Because, I mean, Leah Thomas won 1 race against females, that's, you know, just from point of the argument, females, by 50-odd seconds. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then at the podium, towers over these... I mean, this podium picture, no one can be happy about that.
Yeah.
That is clear advantage for a biological male. You as a woman, how comfortable do you feel about someone who, until last year, was a gay man of 25, suddenly, without any surgery, starts doing TikTok videos saying, I'm now into womanhood and I'm a girl, on a journey to being a girl, and then does a Nike ad for sports bras for women, despite not having any breasts, and more importantly, mocks the way women do sport if you look at it as a misogynist.
That's ridiculous.
It's not.
That is ridiculous. She's not mocking the way that we do sport. And also, can I just say that was really rude from your other guest? I don't know what her name is, but Dylan, she's a she. I don't understand why you'd need to open up your commentary with that. You're obviously appealing to a certain
Well, she would like to identify now as a she.
Yeah, just leave her alone.
But until last year, she was a he.
But look, importantly...
And then she was a non... hang on, Ava, it's complicated
Piers,
keeping
you
up...
asked me a question.
I know, but it's complicated keeping up with these people. Like Sam Smith, who was a gay man, then he was non-binary, then he was gender fluid.
Yeah.
Now I've no idea what he is, other than he dresses up like Satan half the time. I don't know what Dylan Mulvaney really is, other than a lot of women, particularly in America, have taken great exception to the way Dylan Mulvaney mocks women, female behaviour because they believe that Dylan Mulvaney is a biological man.
Listen, the anti-trans movement in America is very different to what it is in Britain. In Britain, feminists claim that it's because they're worried about men invading their spaces. Fine, whatever. In America, it's a conservative movement, and it's because they don't believe that that trans women fit into society. And it's all out of this pent-up Christian aggression that is quite disgusting.
Yeah, but this is where you're wrong.
Look, I hate how you've opened up this debate and asked me if I find it offensive as a woman or whatever. I don't care. I don't care that Dylan doesn't have breasts and wears sports bras. In the same way that women who've had double mastectomies because of breast cancer don't wear, they wear a sports bra as well. It doesn't bother me what's in people's pants or in people's, bras.
Really?
No, I'm not preoccupied with that.
Do you care that Leah Thomas, a 6'4" biological male who competed unsuccessfully as a man at swimming, is now winning national championship swimming races against biological females?
I think that's extrapolating the argument.
Do you care?
Because what we're talking about is Dylan and whether she's on a beer can.
We're talking
that's a whole other discussion.
We're talking about the whole trans issue. My argument to you is, do you care about that?
Is she a woman?
Huh?
In my opinion, she's a woman, so she can compete
you don't
that way.
care?
That's fine.
What gave him the voice for all of our community?
Yeah,
Why?
I was honest. I think
a complete hypocrite. Let me bring James back in. So
when
James,
Piers Morgan is agreeing with you, I think you need to be concerned. I'll say that for the.
So you're telling a dwarf actor what he should feel, having literally just lectured me about speaking for someone in the dwarf community, Warwick Davis. You now accuse a dwarf actor.
No, it's not what I said. I said that if you're siding with anyone, you've got to worry. Right. What I'd like to say actually is that I kind of mostly agree with what you're saying.
And now you're. Sir, that's just taking a pot shot there.
No,
by saying,
it is absolutely taking a pot
shot.
But I do agree with what you're saying. I completely agree with your point of view, and I think that's really important. But I can only speak from my experience, and as a gay man, I know that growing up, I witnessed gay people being villains in movies when I was...
Seven dwarves aren't villains.
And that I think stereotypes are really important to
What stereotype do you think they represent?
In the universe of Snow White, wouldn't it be better if dwarves
I don't feel This isn't a part of this about the stereotype.
Right.
This is about roles that were made for people of my stature that don't have the chance to go out for other roles normally.
But you, James,
so why are we
you want to stop Dylan getting a role in a Hollywood film?
I am not going to get into an attack on a dwarf.
You don't want a dwarf actor to land the role
I do,
playing a dwarf part.
Listen, a dwarf can play a dwarf part, but I think it's important to change narratives that don't fit in today's society. And really,
Which is that narrative?
It might be better
if
dwarves just exist in normal roles everywhere because they do exist.
What was so bad about the way dwarves were depicted in Snow White? Have I missed something?
Well, listen, I'm not here to talk about...
That's what I'm kind of wondering as well.
I don't represent Disney, but I'm just saying I think I see their point of view.
What's their point of view? What was so bad about the depiction of the dwarves?
Why are you so upset about a movie changing with the times and moving forward?
Because I think that, honestly, with great respect...
there is real news we could be discussing.
No, but this is real news if you're a dwarf actor who are now out of work because of virtue signalling idiots.
But you're just
who think that everything has to be rewritten to be inclusive.
As a cheap
when in fact it's not inclusive at all.
No, you're using Dylan as a cheap shot to attack a wokie.
I don't think Dylan feels I'm using him as a cheap shot. And what I would say about the wokie thing is this: I have spent the last year listening to people tell me only gay actors should play gay parts. Only Welsh actors, so Michael Sheen, should play Welsh characters, and so on and so on and so on. But the moment we have dwarf roles, which are the most famous dwarf roles in Hollywood history, then the only people apparently who can't play them are dwarf actors.
Weren't dwarf
and
roles.
I see there
it's a cartoon,
stinking
Piers.
woke hypocrisy. Well, Jaylene Cheney made global headlines this weekend after claiming fat people are entitled to extra seats on planes because they're so fat. She said all plus-sized passengers should be provided with an extra free seat or even 2 or 3 seats, depending on their size, to accommodate their needs and ensure their comfort during the flight. Well, look, Jaylene, you can have your extra seat, you can have 10 extra seats, but you've got to pay for them. Why should you be entitled to special treatment, raising the cost of travel for everybody else because you're obese? Maximum self-entitlement, zero self-accountability. Free seats for fat flyers, Esther. The idea that the more obese you get, the fatter you become, the more free seats you're entitled to on a plane. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the lady in the video who was saying it, she was probably the size of the plane that she wanted to fly. Look, the reality is, we've always seen, debates online about whether, if you need a seatbelt extension, you should really buy 2 seats because you're spilling over into the other person's seat. And airplanes are designed to basically tin you like sardines, right? So the idea that someone else should pay for the fact that she's obese is quite frankly ludicrous.
Reality exists. Biology is real.
And is that reality a legal one? Because in this country it is.
Reality,
it is a legal reality, Zubi, that you can change your gender.
You cannot change your biological sex. It's physically impossible.
I'm saying to you,
it is impossible
it's a legal reality
it is
that you can.
Can you change your biological sex?
We can talk about biology, and we can talk about the legality of it.
We're talking about biology, though. This thing is about sport. This is about males and females.
Well, the problem when we talk about biology is, and neither of us are scientists, but
you don't need to be a scientist to know male and woman.
You and I both know that it's a lot more complicated than that.
What's the complication?
It's not as simple as, for me, it's very simple. And for you, it may be very simple. But I think we're indulging an ignorance by not suggesting that there is more to it than that.
Can you become male?
I don't want to be a male.
But can you become male? Is there anything that could be done that could turn you into a male in the way that I'm male and Piers is male? Is that possible?
See, now, do you see how you've qualified your question? So you first asked me, can I become a male? And I would suggest probably yes, in terms of medically. But then you said, like you and Piers, and that's where we start to get complicated.
Paula, I hoped we would have taken you a little further down your journey. I fear when you say you think you can become male, you can't, because male is a sex.
I can have gender recognition, can't I? I can legally become a male.
We've got to leave it there, but you can't actually become a biological male. And nor can I, you'll be relieved to hear, become a biological female. Because I'm quite tempted right now to start entering the cricket competition, right? And smashing female biological bowlers all over the place and feeling good about myself. Only I wouldn't. I'd feel ashamed. I think it's embarrassing.